What up, YouTube Alayx? Coming back at you with another StarCraft 2 cast. On the top right-hand side of the map, we have our red Terran player PAULET. And on the bottom left-hand side of the map, we have our blue Protoss player Hawtdawg. And it looks like Hawtdawg is going for what looks to be a probe pull. They're just chilling out here for a second. Oh, he's going to try and stack them up, I think, and then run them across the map. I don't think this is quite how you want to stack them. Typically, I see it done in these little pockets in the minerals. And that way, these probes can get stacked up, and it almost looks like one probe until suddenly they explode into a handful of probes. This is going to catch PAULET quite off guard. They are scouting on the other side of the map here, and on the mini-map, it looks like we have another probe pull. How many does this leave back home? 2 probes back home. Ideally, I would have liked to see these probes enter the Terran base together, because now PAULET has the numbers advantage here. Will be able to hold this off, and then if they do kill all these probes here, these probes will also be outnumbered, so it's very important to make sure that you have power in numbers where workers are concerned. But PAULET did not pull the entire mineral line of SCVs, and now it looks like they will be denied entry to the Terran base here, and I don't think there's enough surface area for these probes to do enough damage and break in to the Terran base, especially now that we're going to have a Marine that's just going to be finishing up here as well. I think this probe pull is as good as denied. Hawtdawg trying to cause some damage here, but now just losing probes needlessly to PAULET. I think it only got 1 kill right here on this Marine, so ultimately running home. Now Hawtdawg is at a severe economical disadvantage. It's not going to be able to do much for quite a while. I think I would have recalled the probes, honestly, just to save some time here, but PAULET reacting to cheese with cheese. There is a proxy barracks on the way, and I agree with this a lot. There's not going to be a lot where defense is concerned for Hawtdawg at this point in the game, and now we have a bunker here. I think it's as good as denied, though. There's just not enough going on here. If there was a couple Marines to deal some damage here, sure, maybe. Does get the cancel on this bunker, though, so good attempt here by PAULET running that SCV away. It will survive. We do see what looks to be Marines coming out of this proxy barracks, and I would have it no other way. I did forget to mention this is a platinum level game. We started the game so hot that I forgot to even tell you guys what league we're watching, but this is a platinum level game. And we are seeing some unusual and unique strategies coming from these players. I think it was really instigated by Hawtdawg. I don't think PAULET was necessarily planning on doing this until they saw that it was a probe pull and an attempt to get into the main base. But Hawtdawg just delaying that a little bit. The staggered entry with the probes allowed PAULET to wall this off and deny entry for those probes, unfortunately. The cybernetics core, quite delayed, is going to be finished up here. At this point, I'm not entirely sure what Hawtdawg's plan is. We have another gateway. I would like to see Warp Gate being researched, and we do see it is on the way. This is a decent amount of Marines. What I would do in PAULET's situation, though, if I'm being honest, if I saw that many probes in my base and I was able to hold it off, I would run in with just a few Marines to start harassing the mineral line, because you know that there's going to be some very delayed production for your enemy Protoss player. And now it does look like we have an attempted Nexus here. I think it's going to be denied, though. This is a lot of Marines to what is going to be 2 army supply, and that 2 army supply isn't even finished yet. These are adepts that will be coming out. What I would suggest for a Hawtdawg to do in this situation, if he does want to try and stay in this game and I had a failed probe pull would be to throw down at least 1, if not 2 shield batteries. Adepts are very good DPS. They would be able to hold off a good amount of Marines with shield battery support. But this Adept not even attempting to do anything. It's going to be what is almost a full probe pull. We'll be able to kill a lot of Marines, but at what cost? It is 24 workers killed in that engagement. Just about. There was 1 worker that was killed in the earlier part of the game, so technically 23 workers killed in that engagement. Oh man, now Hawtdawg is at a huge disadvantage here. It is what looks like 24 workers to 9 in favor of PAULET here. PAULET is just going to be happily macroing behind this, but I would suggest for PAULET to keep the pressure up. You know you're very far ahead, especially after all those workers died. We do have an attempt at some adept harassment here. But I don't think it's going to work, man. We only have a handful of Marines, though. There is a bunker. They will be able to hang out in the bunker, but the Adepts would be able to shade around this. So, man, at this point, Hawtdawg has a lot of catching up to do. I do appreciate that attempt at the probe pull, but just delayed himself too much and allowed PAULET to wall that off. Good job, Hawtdawg, paying attention to these Adepts. We have a 3rd Adept here. This is still a good handful of Marines. And now they're just running around each other. These Adepts, I'm not entirely sure what their plan's going to be, if they're going to try and go for the main base. We have Marines kind of scattered all over the map right now. Doing a good job at making sure there's no weird proxies, maybe a hidden base as well. Based on how this game started, I would not be shocked. That's almost something I would expect from this level of cheese. I'd be like, man, there's a potential for a ninja base somewhere. Despite being so far behind in economy, we do have a decent amount of Adepts being made, and it looks like they don't know where they're going. Good job at going towards the choke point, but now they allowed... They're like, you know what? This is too good of a position. We want to actually have a challenge here. We had a great position in the choke point where we could not get surrounded by the SCVs, and we're just going to walk to the left of that and allow ourselves to get surrounded by the SCVs. Ultimately, it could have been a lot worse, but now we have a huge army here comparatively to these Adepts, and now they're going to try and run away, but I think they're all going to get cleaned up, and they do get cleaned up ultimately. This barracks just chilling. It looks like it's actually rallied to the main base. PAULET just a little too lazy, can't be bothered. Has APM to worry about. Can't sacrifice that precious APM on this barracks here. Wants to keep it here. Is probably happy to have it hotkeyed and just rallied to the main base, but at this point we're looking at 32 army supply to 8, way in favor of the Terran player. We still don't have another Nexus here. It is 1 base for our blue Protoss player, Hawtdawg. So Hawtdawg in a pretty hot situation, if you ask me. Anyway, I'm going to stop making those cheesy dad jokes now. We got what is going to be medevacs as well for the Terran player. So, man, I feel like Hawtdawg is just delaying the inevitable at this point. I feel like there's not even spoilers. I think Terran pretty much has this game in the bag, but Hawtdawg just too stubborn to let this game go. He's like, man, I have a chance. I haven't lost yet. I have a chance, man. I can do this. And with a few shield batteries with this engagement, maybe, but now we have the siege tank. In theory, the Adepts could shade on top of the siege tank and snipe it, but this is a lot of Marine support. We still don't have any shield batteries or any defense for that matter outside of the Adepts. We have the Robo facility on the way. Hawtdawg having a very delayed reaction to seeing that tank is like, hey, look, maybe I'll make some Immortals. I think that's a good idea. When in reality, I think that would have been a good idea maybe 4 minutes ago. We have a decent position on the high ground here. There is a wall, but unfortunately against Terran, walling off is not necessarily the best choice because Terran can just snipe your buildings with Marines and tanks. It's possible PAULET has overextended themselves, though. We have the tank here that's a little bit far away. I would suggest moving that tank a little bit closer. There is vision on the high ground for the Terran player with these Marines up here, so that would be some good support for PAULET. Hawtdawg, honestly, surprisingly not in a horrible position right now. I mean, technically speaking, yeah, it's pretty rough. It's 28 army supply to 49, 23 workers to 40, all in favor of the Terran player, but Hawtdawg just can't give up. Just refuses to let go. We do finally have the shield battery here as well. I gotta give it to Hawtdawg. Will not leave the game until it's absolutely certain at this point that he's going to be losing. I would snipe these tanks if I were Hawtdawg, though. Does manage to get this tank. We have another tank here in the back, though, and I think this is going to clean up. I was going to say, I think this is going to clean up the Protoss army, but it doesn't. And now the hero probes are like, we finally have our chance to shine. We wanted to do this 30 seconds into the game, and now at 11 minutes, we finally have our moment. Able to surround and take out a tank, and really didn't lose that many workers in that engagement. We still have 37 army supply to 4. The 4 army supply being these 2 stalkers here. This stalker just barely holding on to life. But we have what is going to be a 3rd base for the Red Terran player, and we still have 1 base for this Protoss, man. I have honestly nothing but respect for Hawtdawg for surviving this long, if I'm being honest with you. I think PAULET should have been able to win this game quite a long time ago. You're a 3-base Terran to a, well, I mean, technically just now 3-base, so ideally, more realistically, you were a 2-base Terran going against a 1-base Protoss at 11 minutes in the game. The army supply is effectively just these 2 stalkers. We have a couple more units back home, it looks like. But really, at this point, man, 47 army supply to 16. Getting 1 good drop into the main base of the Protoss player, maybe even the mineral line, would effectively just win you the game at this point. Robotics facility pumping out that immortal. Hawtdawg really should consider expanding soon, maybe even double expanding. Looking at PAULET's minerals, I just noticed this. This is 3,000 minerals in the bank for our Red Terran player, so the macro could arguably be a lot better. We do have more barracks coming down for our Red Terran player here, but you don't want to be floating this much money, and this might be why PAULET hasn't necessarily just straight up won the game yet. This ninja barracks here still chilling, still alive, has not been spotted by Hawtdawg here. We still don't have this expansion, man. This game has been all kinds of wacky. I'm glad I'm well caffeinated, otherwise my head would be hurting right now. I'm not going to be lying to you guys. This is a lot of medevacs, a big push with Marines and a couple tanks here. I think this has to win him the game, right? We have a good handful of Protoss units, but it's just, I don't think it's enough. I mean, all things considered, Hawtdawg is doing a pretty good job at macroing based on the position he's in. He's on 1 base. He's been on 1 base this whole game. We're 13 minutes into this game, and yeah, PAULET's double the army supply of the Protoss player, but PAULET's also ahead in 2 bases. There's not even an expansion here for our blue Protoss player. Hawtdawg does spot this army, but this looks like it's going to be a full pickup. I think Hawtdawg kind of realizes this, though, is running into the main base, but it looks like PAULET is going for the minerals of the Protoss player, actually just flying around right now, and I just realized this. Protoss has hardly been making workers. He's still got the 28 workers right now, so, man, I'm honestly speechless. I'm even stumbling over my words a little bit. This is just, this game is taxing. Is taxing on my brain right now. There's just so, I'm so confused. But this engagement here, it's arguably not the worst position Protoss could be in with the shield batteries. We do have the tanks here doing a lot of work. And ultimately, PAULET winning the game. It looks like Hawtdawg just leaving without the GG. Man, I think PAULET deserved a GG for that, man. I gotta say, this was just all kinds of wacky. But man, that cheese, ultimately though, not expanding. Hawtdawg, I think, losing the game at this point. Lost the game a long time ago, did not manage to expand, and just put himself so far behind with that probe pull, that failed probe pull, that effectively decided the game. So very fun to watch. Platinum level game. If you enjoyed what you saw, please consider shooting me a like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. And if you want me to cast any of your own games, I will leave my email in the description below. And I'll see you guys on the next one.